Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second official episode of the Renovation and Outdoor Living Show. If you're joining us for the first time, well, a reminder that this is a brand new series which we've just put together, a webinar series brought to you by Refresh Renovations and Zones Landscaping. We're going to be streaming it live to Facebook, but you probably already know that because you're probably on Facebook watching this, initially twice a week. And although the coronavirus pandemic may have been the initial reason for introducing this, as many people are looking to online solutions for innovation, this is a show we hope will be around long after COVID-19 is a distant memory, when we're telling all the grandchildren about when we're all forced to watch Netflix and eat nothing but home baking for a solid month. So wherever you are, and there'll be some of you who are watching this from Australia, I think the US is tuning in as well, but say hi if you want to. Obviously you can put your live comments up. I can have a look at those comments and pass them on if they're appropriate. As I said, second in the series, we'll call this the autumn series for now. And today, well, we're looking into how to plan your outdoor space for the next few seasons. And we want to interact with you as much as possible, okay? Somebody's just said, hi, Rawdon, good to see you. So please, make your comments, questions you've got, stories you've got, suggestions, videos, photos, anything you like, just chuck it down online. As I say, I can see the comments, see what's coming up, and hopefully we can share some of, and also see you here at the bottom, it should be saying, leave your questions in the comment section. We've got experts coming on today. We have access to other experts who can answer your questions about anything renovation-based or landscaping-based. Afternoon, Carla. Thanks for joining us. Now, we also have to start off with two questions from Tuesday's show. Now, on Tuesday, if you weren't with us, we were talking to Lindsay from Schneider Electric, and we were talking about the installation of electrical points, especially for the charging of electric vehicles, because as you may know, the government's it's a big push. We've got about 20,000 vehicles on EVs on the road now. The government's got a target of 64,000 by the end of next year, and so it's a major concern. Is that obviously we want to be able to think ahead. So we had a question. The government's also pushing for huge growth in the fleet and new regulations. And Di Renee asked, are there going to be new regulations for renovations above a certain amount, or is it just for new builds? Because Lindsay was telling us at the moment, new builds have to be built with the capacity for charging up EVs with these special fast charging units. So the answer from Lindsay to that, Di, and it's a good question, because surely if you're doing it for new builds, you'll be doing it for major renovations as well. Well, the Schneider Electric team advises there are no plans that they're aware of to introduce EV pre-wire requirements when renovating at this stage. But as we talked to Lindsay about on Tuesday, I think it was about $2.5 grand you could start off by getting a unit put in place. So if you are thinking of a major renovation, it's such a good consideration to have, and get hold of Schneider Electric if you want to. We can give you details if you want to. Now, another question we had came from Hahid Rahim Khan. Now, Hahid asked, this wasn't about anything linked with that show where we were talking about colors and electric vehicles. He asked, what's the best way of blending the living, the al fresco, and the deck area backward? So we're talking about landscaping here, I guess. Who better to answer this question than our first guest for today? And that is landscape architect Nicola Vague, who I hope is going to pop up on our screens in some very clever way if somebody presses the right button. Nicola, nice to see you. Yes, cool.
Hi,
You're
Rawdon.
almost appearing. There you are. Nice to see you. So just by way of background for the viewers, Nicola, you've got 23 years experience in the landscape industry. You're a landscape architect. Your experience including design, project management of projects in the residential, commercial, resort and large-scale urban planning market throughout New Zealand and the Middle East. So that's basically everything. You're now with Zones Landscaping based in Tauranga, and I presume that's where you are if you're in isolation there.
Yes.
Good to see you. Let's start with that question that Hahid asked. What is the best way of blending the living, the al fresco, and the deck area backward? I'm not sure what backward means, but I know you will.
Yeah. Hi, everyone, and thanks for having me here today. Yeah, I would recommend one of the important things to consider when you're looking at integrating indoor-outdoor spaces is to look at the style of your house and start from there and look at the way that your house spaces are laid out. So, for example, if you've got an indoor lounge area, then look at connecting an adjoining space outside to that has a similar function. There's also things you can do like using flooring systems that give you a transitional seamless effect from indoor to outdoor. Things like Outdoor are a great product that allows for that. And so that is something that really helps with giving you that indoor outdoor transition. You also have, we have a great allowance of a great number of systems for roofs now that you can use. So louvers, things like that really extend our outdoor living spaces. Yeah.
It's funny you should mention louvre roofs, because Nicola, we're going to be talking to someone very shortly about that, because it ties in well, obviously, for what you're saying. But what about this time of year, though? Is this a good time to be considering the planning and the design of your outdoor space? Because, you know, apart from that, we're all sitting at home looking at our homes at the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm talking generally, we're going into autumn.
Yeah.
Should we be trying to get a head start on this?
Definitely. And I mean, now is when we really are thinking about, oh, I wish I'd got, you know, a covered, sheltered outdoor space ready, things like outdoor fires, fire pits, all those things that make our gardens warm and inviting as the temperatures drop. I'm all for, you know, extending the usability of your garden spaces. They're not just something to look at, they're places we should be outside and actually enjoying. And so doing things like incorporating roof structures or some shelter or elements like that really do extend your usability of your garden spaces. Yeah,
it's actually a good idea, isn't it, while the seasons are changing, to be considering your space, because you're not just going to be thinking about beautiful afternoon sun and the barbecue and the fresh air.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And that's one of the benefits of maybe being stuck here a little bit. We're not stuck, but in your little bubble, it's a great time to actually take notice of your garden. Often we're so busy, you know, we don't connect with that anymore. So it's a great time to have a look about where does the sun hit your garden spaces at this time of year? Where is the winds coming from? And that can really help briefing someone like myself as to the types of specific issues we need to address.
And what about the landscaping side of it, the plants, the veggies? I mean, you know, again, winter's around the corner here in New Zealand anyway. By the way, kawa osio, hello bati naith. I have no idea what language that is, but I'm wondering if you're saying hello from the north. So let us know where you are, Kawa. You've just sent us that message. So anyway, Nicola, so should we be thinking about planting at the moment? Veggies, flowers, whatever?
Yeah, definitely. We've just come out of a very hard summer. And so I know I've been advising clients not to really enter into any major planting projects over that time. So we're now coming into a more favourable time to start at least thinking about getting your soils ready, and definitely a bit of planting can be done. We certainly can, in the Bay, we're quite lucky with the climate we have here. It's very, very specific to your local climate, but we're lucky we can almost plant year round apart from those really harsh summer months. So it's a great time to be thinking about that. Yeah.
Thinking about how local that is, it might make this next question quite hard to answer, but what should we be planting at the moment, or are there trends which we should be looking for?
Yeah, so probably one of the big things that you want to be doing at the moment is considering things like lawns or ground covers, things that are really going to, any plants that aren't going to be frost tender, things like that are good to be looking at planting. You're only really limited by frost and those sort of issues at the moment. And as long as you prepare your soil well and get a good layer of mulch in, that's probably one of the most important things. And considering drainage as well, because over winter, that's the thing that really is hard on plants.
Do you reckon the raised garden bed answers a lot of those concerns or those considerations which you've just said about drainage, about mulch, about, I mean, you know, what is the benefit of putting those in?
Yeah, raised beds are fantastic for all of those reasons. They're especially great for veggie beds and people with mobility issues. It's great for helping to tend gardens because you're not having to bend all the time. So, but in particular for vegetable gardens, they're a fantastic way to, get soil profiles built up and drainage. Yeah.
A quick question here from Sue saying, so it's time to grow the grass in lawn. Should we?
The grass and lawn. So that's so things like, if rather than, say, if you had a new build site, it's a good time to get some lawn down, so you're stopping any mud and stuff like that over the winter months. And so autumn's still a time where you can get and instant lawn is something you can put down year round anyway. So that's the rollout turf. Obviously, spring's the best time for growth, but you still have, depending on your local climate, you will still have some good growth ability over this time.
Astro lawn, or is that not featuring?
It's got its place, and definitely, I do use AstroTurf in projects, and it definitely has a place for use. And when used properly, it's a fantastic addition to a garden, especially in winter, where you've got a lovely green space that's usable year round.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Nicola, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate that. We could talk endlessly about this, and because I wanted to talk about native plants as well, but maybe we'll get you back on the show fairly soon to talk about that and direct tips. But thank you. That is of course Nicola Vague from Zones Landscaping in Tauranga. We will catch up with Nicola again as the series goes on. Now, if we get 100 people watching, I don't know how many people are watching at the moment. Somebody will be really clever and probably let me know. We've got a prize draw to announce at the end of the show, so keep sharing this show, start a watch party, pass it on to your friends and family. Let's get as many people going as we can, get a bit of momentum going, a bit of information sharing, and then we can also give away some pretty spectacular prizes as time goes on. So I mentioned with Nicola, we were talking about, Nicola brought up the roof, the shelter above us, how important that is to think about, and she mentioned louvres. So with the theme of the show being outdoorsy, our next guest is Steve Morris from Pacific Outdoor Solutions. Now, Steve's been involved in the planning and design of outdoor structures for the last 9 years. He has a background in building, so knows what he's doing. And he's all about the louvre roof at Pacific Outdoor Solutions. Steve, I hope you're somewhere in the ether online with us. It's good to see you.
Yeah, great to hear from you.
To pop up. We can hear you, and now we can see you. Awesome. Hey, so Steve, there are so many shelter options to choose. So, look, Nicola went straight to the Louvre, unprompted. So why should we look at the Louvre roof? She's obviously using it in a lot of design.
Yeah, Rawdon, backtracking a little bit, why a roof in general is the question we get asked. And talking from experience from clients, I had a client that we sold a alfresco roof to, and he had a barbecue area, etc., spa, and etc. on his deck. And rang him a couple of months after he had a roof put in, and said to him, "Well, how often do you use that area now?" Previously, he said he had only used it once a month or twice a month, but he said now he uses it every single night. So this is the idea of having a roof structure, bringing your indoor-outdoor flow into place. There's so many options on the market. Pacific Outdoor Solutions, we do a range of alfresco roofs, from stretched membranes, polycarbonate screens, and also the Eclipse louver system, which gives all the benefits of the outside alfresco area. And of course, with the open and close function of the louver, this gives you shade when you need it. It gives you light on overcast days. It protects you from the rain, and of course keeps you cool on those hot days. These options give new outdoor areas that you can use just about all days of the year, and of course gives you a beautiful outdoor entertaining area for your family and friends.
Yeah, so we're talking about flexibility here. So the first thing which you mentioned was people worry about, so is it going to get too dark? Is it going to stop the sunlight getting through, and these sort of things? So, I mean, I'll give you an example. Can you put privacy screens on your roofs, something like that?
Yes, of course you can. We do a range of privacy screens, from the cafe curtains going up and down, through to fixed louver type, through to moving louver types, and laser cut screens. So you can dress up your louver and close some of the areas from wind, as Nicola said, or elements that you want the neighbour. You can shut the neighbour off a bit. So it gives you lots of options with those screens.
And I can just look at this picture which we brought up. You can obviously get different types of blades as well, and different shades. I mean, some of them almost seem to be slightly opaque, so they do let the light through.
Yeah, so you end up with a polycarbonate or a stretch membrane, like the curved roof you can see there in the picture. These let more light through continuously, but also you get a heat. So with the louver system, you don't get the heat that you get from a polycarbonate roof. And that's why people do choose louver roofs, because you get the light, you get the shade, and it's nice and cool to sit under when you're having a cup of coffee.
What about the tech? I mean, am I going to spend all afternoon, if I'm entertaining, getting up and down, I don't know, winding stuff to get the right light and the right wind, or can I sit there with a remote nowadays?
No, we at the Eclipse have an Italian operation system, which is very advanced. You can open and close your louver with a remote, or if you want just a wall controller, you can have it on the wall by pressing a button. The controller comes with preset factory settings, which open and close it to certain positions, or you can use the open and close button to position it wherever you want. The great thing about the Eclipse louver system is that it rotates the blade nearly to 170 degrees. So you can follow the sun, you can turn the blades upside down. And what our customers love is when they turn them nearly upside down is that they can clean the blades, the top of the blade, from being on the ground rather than have to get on the roof to clean them. So there's so many features of the Eclipse system.
Well, that's my next question, Gordon. How do you clean them? Hey, look, Vicky Fremantle's just sent through a question here. Vicky's question. Hi, Vicky here. Please, could you tell me what it would cost? Let's stick to your Eclipse louver. What would it cost for a 25 square metre louver roof? Okay, and I know you're going to say it depends how many bells and whistles you want with it, but a rough margin, a rough from to.
But a basic system that we do is either freestanding or attached to the house. And this varies the price just a little bit. All our louver systems come standard with a rain sensor. And so the louvers do shut when it does rain. So if you're downtown or doing something, enjoying New Zealand outdoors down the road and it rains, the louver system will automatically close. But for a louver system, you're looking at roughly between $1,000 and $1,500 a square metre. And that's a complete, finished, ready to operate. We don't hide any of our pricing. We encourage our installers to give you a one price that covers all of the install costs.
And this leads to another great question we've just had in, which so many people think about when they're starting out on any project, be it a renovation, be it landscaping. And Richard sent this question in. What are some guidelines on the return on investment for outdoor area cover? You know, if you're considering selling soon, is there an appreciable positive effect on price for these systems? You know, if you're looking at, you know, $1,500 for a square meter, is that what you said, or did you say 2.5?
Yeah. So you're looking at serious money, Rawdon, but what you find is that people these days are looking at an indoor-outdoor area all the time. And so when you go to open homes or you're looking at a house or etc., if they've got an indoor-outdoor area which is expanding the living area out into the garden or onto the deck, it adds value to the house. And we find that people that, even if they put the money in for 2 or 3 months, they find it easier to sell their house and they're getting a premium dollar for their house because it has that option.
Yeah, they say it's the kitchen, the bathroom, and it's the outdoors. You get those 3 right, and the ROI is massive. Steve, thank you. Now, Pacific Outdoor Solutions, you guys do the measure and the quote and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, so we through zones, they have specialists in this area, and they come out and do a free measure and quote for you, understand what your requirements are, and so that we can get it something that's going to suit your needs.
Fantastic. Steve Morris, thank you so much for giving us some time and some insight there. Absolutely awesome. And I love seeing some of those pictures of some of the work which you guys have done as well. Steve, we'll no doubt speak to you again as the year goes on. So we're nearly at the end there. That was Steve Morris from Pacific Outdoor Solutions. So while you're thinking about your outdoor spaces and you're in isolation, the other thing you've got to consider is the fact that, well, it's, you know, we've been doing this for, well, here in New Zealand, we've been doing it for just over 2 weeks. It seems to be working. They're definitely looking at another 2 weeks or so. So I want your suggestions, okay? What are you doing with the kids or with each other over Easter? Keep it clean, please. Best ideas are going to get this a $50 Mitre 10 voucher, which we're going to give out on our next show, okay, for the best idea which comes in between now and the next show will be on Tuesday, okay? My top tip for the weekend is watch Tiger King if you haven't already. And you will have heard people talking about this, although we're all locked up in our own houses, we're isolated away from everyone else, you'll have heard everyone online is talking about it, okay? Don't watch it with the youngsters. Okay, unless you want to expose them to one of the world's maddest people. His name is Joe Exotic. That's one of his many names. The show's all about him. Now, it's the most Googled TV show here in New Zealand, or film at the moment. That's followed by US crime series Ozark. Definitely don't watch that with the kids. The film Dunkirk is also right up there. That could be quite a good one for the family to sit down. I was looking at the other top Googles, and it's, funnily enough, recipes. And out of all the recipes, bread is number one. No surprise there. Pizza dough is trending. The other things which people want to know about are pork belly, apple pie, banoffee pie, pumpkin soup, omelettes, and hokey pokey. If you're not in New Zealand, Google it. And none of it's very good for you. So outside that, of course, all the Google searches are corona related. They're dominating. So our plan in the Christie household for the weekend, well, on Saturday, I'm going to set the kids a task to build a marble run each. This is using my old marbles from when I was a kid. You have to build it from the attic through the house to the front door. Okay, the longest journey wins. The slowest it takes for the marble to go unassisted using gravity to get from the top to the bottom of the house wins the prize. You're allowed to use anything you can find in the house as long as it doesn't involve any permanent damage. Those are the rules. That's Saturday. Then on Sunday, we're going to play Tidy Up, the marble run game. Monday, we're going to spend the day apologizing for the arguments which we had while we were having to tidy up the day before. And then Tuesday, I'll hopefully see you all back. So send us your best Easter activity, video or photo evidence if you can. We'll announce the winner on Tuesday who can win that $50 Mitre 10 voucher. And that's when we will bring you the next episode of the Renovation and Outdoor Living Show, 2 p.m. New Zealand time, Tuesday afternoon. Have a great Easter weekend. Bye-bye.